I just want to clarify, if you take nothing else away from this whole video, this is the simplest, fastest, hassle-free experience you can have with a drone to date. Because most of my channel is photo and video focused for drones, I'm usually obsessing over quality, so I was really ready to talk about how this thing is not up to par. I had a bad experience with the last Neo, and I distinctly labeled it a toy for multiple reasons, but this Neo 2 has really impressed me in a lot of ways too. And the ultimate bottom line that just can't be argued, we're talking about under $300 for something that can do all this. The most outstanding things about this drone appeal to a totally different group of people than who would care about professional drones. What I mean is, if you show 100 random people the best features on the Mini 5 Pro, most of them don't really know drones. Some of them are going to be impressed. A few of them are going to really get excited, and those are the drone guys. If you show 100 people the Neo 2, I don't know anybody who's not going to be really excited or interested or like, oh man, that's really cool, or could understand the appeal or think of ways they could use it. This is the first drone I've gone in the other room while I'm screwing around with it to show my girlfriend, like, oh, look at this thing, it follows me around. I am its master, it obeys my commands. And the other thing, I actually could go in the other room and show her, because how many times can you do that with the drone? You need tons of space, tons of room, you gotta crap your pants with anxiety, make sure the propellers aren't gonna chop your fingers off. I'm talking about like the first time you use one, you know, but you can give this thing to anybody and they would have a good time with it and be able to take off and land.
Let my hand go immediately, it catches itself. Fantastic.
The spec list is cool from the perspective of the accomplishment of having an extremely light drone with a 1/2-inch sensor. It's exciting to me because I remember how much money I paid for a 1/2-inch sensor that like 5 years ago to get the Air 2. And man, the Air 2 was like knocking people's socks off. The camera quality was not as good as this, but still, with this Neo 2, could you talk me into getting one of these things if I saw the spec list? Probably not. Is it cool? Yeah, great that another drone came out. I'm not gonna look at this list though and go, oh, it has something that my other drones don't. But if you gave me an hour to screw around with this thing, I would be telling all my friends about it. The things that make you fall in love with this drone are intuitive, and you have to use it, and once you meet yours and get along with it and get attached, then you're gonna be really excited. This is first and foremost a follow me drone. That's its job. It starts recording automatically as soon as it takes off from your hand.
Hey, there's some sticks in front of you, watch out for that. Whoa, not bad. Oh my God, oh, watch out.
I did this again and again, trying to get it to bump into one of these sticks with no leaves on it, which is always what's gotten my drones before with obstacle avoidance, but it didn't even brush up against any one of these, which is really something I did not see coming. So from that alone, I'm impressed. And this thing will follow you into Mordor. I mean, when they say follow me, mine changed religion, it showed up to my work asking for me, it's on my Netflix account. I'm just impressed they got Omnidirectional on a body this cheap, and it also has forward-facing lidar too.
Really not bad. And I love how it just lets go right away too. And you know, you see these specs beforehand, or when you get one of these, you like read up on it and you think, okay, you know, like take it with a grain of salt, it's not gonna be perfect. I did not think it was gonna be that good though.
Let's say a bird attacks it, it just falls out of the sky. Who cares? This thing's 150 grams. It's not going to explode when it hits the ground. It's not going to be like a meteor. If it lands in the grass, it's probably going to be fine. You don't even need a remote to fly this thing. You don't need the smart controller, the dumb controller. You can use your phone. It'll fly with all the controls from your phone. And if you're too poor to have a phone, but dumb enough to prioritize getting a drone instead, you can just use your hand. You can take off and give it voice commands, or just give it hand gestures to fly it. This is the most easy introduction to drones. But as far as drones go, this is absolutely last place in DJI's list of quality and capabilities. For the price, that's expected. As far as toys go, this ascends so much higher and shines so much brighter than anything else out there right now, which is why I say what it can do, what it's for, and who it's for. This appeals to like the general public. There's a way broader audience that would be interested because of where it's sitting right now. You know how Pacific Rim, you couldn't really tell if this is like the best crap movie of all time or like the very worst major film, and you kind of wrestle back and forth trying to make up your mind over that. This is kind of what the Neo 2 is doing, like either the very best toy drone or it's just the most average professional drone. We've only got one color profile, and that's normal. I do appreciate the 49 gigabytes of memory though. It's built in, so I never have to think about memory cards. Talking about picture quality specifically, I've shown you what I've been able to get with this drone, like shots where I think the lighting's good and I'm actually trying. So you can get good stuff with this. It has the potential. That doesn't mean that you will get good stuff with it. You've got to understand that you are buying a 1/2-inch sensor. DJI software and exposure balancing will help you out as much as it can, and a lot of these I've edited as much as I could to help it out, but it just won't come out the same as a drone with a larger sensor would be able to get for you. To illustrate this with the bigger drones, here's a chart of the image quality you can get. So if the environment is good, you have ideal, clear, sunny afternoon versus a really bad environment, gloomy, hazy day. Most DJI drones sit around here where where you have a lot of good stuff to work with, good picture, bad situation, bad picture. This is the Neo 2. Because you don't have as much data, as big a sensor, it doesn't pick up shadows as well, it really diminishes quickly. People love DJI drones because the more money you can put into it, the more it's going to cover your butt if you make a mistake. If you're rich enough to have a Mavic, I mean, it seems like no matter what you film, it comes out better than you thought. I also really don't like the default picture profile on this thing. If you just shoot in auto, which I know 90% of people will, and you're going for quality, like trying to get landscape stuff, it won't come out as good as the other drones, partly because I don't know what's going on profile in auto, but the color, the exposure balancing, I just don't like when it's trying to help me out here. It always looks too blue. Everything I shot in manual though, I have really liked, and I've been able to adjust the color a little bit, especially the white balance. That's been the biggest thing for me. It's always too blue. That sunsets have come out more golden and more realistic looking. The contrast is healthy there instead of it trying to fix the shadows, but it just really can't. I know we don't all have great Arizona sunsets, so here's an environment that kind of sucks. It's afternoon and it's hazy. If you just took it up and put it in auto, this is what it does, which is why I say I don't like it. It always comes out too blue. Maybe not in this situation, but in others I've seen consistently, too blue is the big issue. Then of course there's nighttime and low light footage. So this is the Mini 4 Pro with a 3/4 inch sensor. The DJI Flip also has a sensor. It's like $400. So the Neo 2, I don't even want to address this. Nighttime footage is just not a thing on this drone. But that's for a person comparing it to other drone footage online, your friend who has a Mini 5 Pro and then trying to go get the same shot. Then you'll have some insecurities. But if you're just the guy who has a mountain bike and just want to film yourself, you're going to think this like looks so good and so clear. You're going to have the time of your life. And at some point, you're not obsessed with the quality, it's the content. So if it's you doing a backflip and you didn't die this time, that's, the one you want to be able to film. Who cares if it's not perfect exposure balancing and white balance and stuff? And something I really want to note, it has a 2-axis gimbal. Huge. Cannot stress how important that is. The last Neo had a 1-axis gimbal. That is not going to cut it, man. You're going to have some wibble wobbles here and there. It's better than nothing, but it's just not going to be as good. So I'm really happy with this. If you buy the $260 version of this that is just the body, you can fly from your hand using gestures, and you can use your phone. The phone though doesn't let it fly away that far, and the control is a little slower. You don't have advanced control over settings for video. If you want more, you have to pay $50 to get this little transceiver module that screws onto the back of it. Basically an enormous range extender, and it does exactly what it sounds like, transfers the image a lot farther. Then your smart controller, if you have one, will actually see the drone when you turn it on and you can connect to it. I'm flying this thing 1,000 meters away. I don't need to go farther than that. If you want to go farther than that, do your own test and post it online. I don't want to get scooped up by a hawk when I've already gotten attached to this drone, but I won't ever need to take it farther than that, and it's doing a completely fine job. I don't have any hiccups with the connection or like, oh, you're getting too far away. I did have that when I was just using the phone. As soon as I got a couple hundred feet away, then it started to give me a little bit of, but then again, I'm sitting in a car, so it is just impressive on its own that whatever they're using to connect to the phone alone is good enough for it to transfer that far. So you could get away with it if you just need basic flying and filming with just your phone. But if you want to do something serious or go really high or very fast and far, then no, you need a controller. Smart controllers on their own are a couple $100 to buy, and I don't know if DJI is going to come out with a combo that has a smart controller for this drone. As of right now, they only have the regular controller, which is the one that connects to your phone. Then you use the phone as the screen and the app on the phone. Does the same job though, performance is the same. Can we get good photos with this thing? Yes, it can get good photos. They're 12 megapixel and they're JPEGs. Again, the potential is only there. So if you know how to use this stuff, you can get good photos, but that doesn't guarantee that you get good photos. In fact, you might be a little disappointed sometimes. So just want to be clear, this is what you're getting out of camera. I edit in Adobe Lightroom, even though they're JPEGs and not raw photos. I'm doing it anyway, just to see how I can fix some of these up. And it is a very wide lens. You have a super wide view of everything. Great to fit your whole house in one shot, not great for landscape photos. Again, low light, not even a thing really on this drone. The shutter only goes down to 1/10 of a second too. That's really a letdown because even with the half-second shutter, I would be able to soak in a lot of light and get something out of this photo. But when you click it into auto, it's going to give you 12,000 ISO. So, I mean, there's just so much grain, it's not even salvageable. Still, that's 4,000 by 3,000. So you have tons of room to crop in. If you're doing this for like simple photos, like photos of your house or something, it's a very good camera. The wind is the number one enemy of this drone at 150 grams. It's so light and it has propeller guards, so it kind of just turns into a kite. Just on a kind of windy day. I'm not talking about like the flag's completely sideways. I'm saying like the kind of breeze where you shrug a little bit, you get out of the car to do something and it's like that windy. It's not crazy windy, but it's enough. The Neo 2 just did not like it at all. As soon as I got over 50 feet in the air, it was like, oh, warning, be careful, the wind, oh my gosh. And it's trying to stabilize, and because it's so light, it's not like with the bigger drones where you can just fly into it anyways and just gun it and it warns you, but whatever. It just won't go that way because it's too light. So it's doing its best, but it's not going to be able to go straight into a headwind. It starts burning through battery trying to stabilize. It gives you warnings when it's windy, but I was still able to go get the shot, so I kind of ignored it and went on, but I know that it's burning through a lot of battery trying to stabilize. Then it was really unhappy when I turned around to go home because the wind started kicking up again. Every other time I've used this though, even with a little breeze, it's been okay. I haven't had any issue in Arizona filming with this thing. Sunset, when there's really not a lot of wind and it's steady, is perfect for this drone. I mean, I went hundreds of feet in the air, all over the place, a mile away, completely fine, didn't have issues, and that was using the smart controller though, so I could clearly see everything I was doing. It didn't have issues with connection. So if you're a surfer, you're not going to be happy because unless it's a totally calm, completely still, like 5 p.m. and you're just sitting out there on your board, no sound, no breeze, totally fine. Any other time, I know if you take off at 2 p.m. when there's tons of waves, tons of wind, you're not going to have a good time and this thing will really argue with you. Strangely though, if you're tearing down the side of a mountain on a mountain bike, it's completely fine. It seems like it has more issues with outside wind than like going fast. If it needs to go fast, it reacts so quickly for obstacle avoidance. This is the fastest I've seen a drone react. It like corrects itself super quick. It's just when there's wind going against it, it really doesn't like that. The other thing, the batteries do burn really quick through this drone because they needed to keep the weight down. So you basically will need to get the package that comes with 3 batteries when you buy this thing. It's just that you're not realistically gonna fly and then come back with a 50% battery and take off again. You're gonna think, oh, I better charge because it's halfway. And when you take off with a 50% battery, once you get down to 20%, it's gonna start giving you warnings about how you need to go home and get in bed immediately, or it's gonna call your parents, which means you're just gonna opt to stop and charge again, so you have to wait. However, because most people that are getting this are using it for really simple stuff or really quick one-shot situations, or you're just trying to film yourself before you go over this bike jump and die and you want it on camera, I think the average person is gonna get their batteries worth out of this thing and be fine with it. And you're taking off directly from your hand, so it immediately starts filming. It's also probably because I'm coming from drones where I have time to look around and plan out shots and file my taxes, and I don't have to really stress about it. So professionals will notice, people from bigger drones will notice, but I don't think the average person will care, and they'll be so happy with what it can do, they won't notice. Even with a shorter battery, it's still the least stressful drone to use. The Mavic 3 is expensive and heavy. If it lands on some guy, that's very sad. The bigger issue, that's $2,500 that just fell out the sky. If the Inspire 2 falls out the sky in a city, it's CNN showing up. I'm a domestic terrorist. I have to go into hiding and start a new life. There is way less whine with this one than there was with the Neo 1. I hated flying the Neo 1 because it wasn't even louder. It was just the right tone that it's super, super annoying. Even amongst drones, even as someone who's flown dozens of different models, I still noticed how annoying it was. And even 200 feet away, I was like, nails on a chalkboard. And I know that neighbors would hear that. They're not the ones flying having a good time. That would just be aggravating. Neo 2, it is a little whinier than the other drones, but it's not the end of the world whiny the way the Neo 1 was. So I hope that helps you figure things out.